Is the surge we've seen in cryptocurrencies over the last few days the start of a real recovery or just another false dawn? Hello, I'm David Jones from currency.com, and I thought we'd catch up with what's been going on with a couple of cryptocurrencies this week, Bitcoin and Ethereum. If you follow these markets, you'll know we've seen a relatively large move in a fairly short period of time. Earlier this week, we've seen Bitcoin jump by about 20%, pretty much $1,000 in just a couple of hours. So I thought, well, let's take a look at this in a bit more detail, because we've had a lack of volatility in these cryptocurrencies for what feels like months now. So this is quite a surprising move. Is it the start of a bigger recovery, or is it just another surge where we'll see the price get sold into and sell off over the next few weeks? When it comes to the reasons behind the move, as usual, no one's really quite sure. One of the reasons, apparently, is it was a result of an April Fool's joke where somebody was saying that the SEC, the US regulator, had finally approved Bitcoin exchange traded funds. This was a joke, but it did go viral in some areas. So some people are saying that's behind the price move. The other reason is saying that shorts covering, when you short sell a market, if the market moves against you, you're losing money. So there's an element of people closing out shorts and people buying in to close their shorts, fueling more rises. And then the other reason, which is always a bit of a go-to reason whenever a market moves and no one really knows the reasons why, is algorithmic buying, because the likes of Bitcoin and Ethereum broke some key chart levels. It fueled sort of robotic buying, which again fueled more buying. Whatever the reason, the moves we've seen this week have broken some key levels. So from a technical point of view, that is always interesting and can suggest there are more gains to come. So let's get into the charts. Let's take a look at both Bitcoin and Ethereum. We'll see what actually happened over recent days. Then we'll take a calmer look at the bigger picture and see, well, look, can we expect further gains in the weeks and the months to come? Let's start off by taking a look at the short-term moves earlier in the week. So I've got here an hourly chart of Bitcoin against the US dollar on the currency.com platform. If I just zoom out a little bit, you can see just how quiet trading had been for some time. And then the move started April the 2nd from about 5 in the morning. So within a couple of hours, the market had moved from below 4,200 to briefly trade above 5,000. That's just in a couple of hours. So we saw a level of volatility that we haven't experienced, I think, for many months in these cryptocurrencies. In this example, Bitcoin. Let's just take a quick look at the short-term chart for Ethereum. Then we'll have a look at maybe the bigger picture and see what this actually could mean for these two cryptocurrencies. So here's the Ethereum chart. Here's the start again, early hours of April the 2nd. So the market was trading around about 141 and then rallied. And this rally did actually carry on. It moved in the first couple of hours, but did actually carry on. And it's on April the 3rd, 9 o'clock, it traded as high as 180. So it's pretty much a $40 move. So a move in excess of more than 25% move in this particular crypto in Ethereum. So now for Ethereum and Bitcoin, let's just have a look at the bigger picture for these two. So just in case anybody needed reminding, we had that massive run up in the last 3 or 4 months of 2017. This is Bitcoin. So going from just above 3,000 to almost getting as high as 20,000 by the middle of December 2017. And of course, the story for much of 2018 was that bubble bursting. We saw the price slide, trading down to lows in December, just ahead of 3,000. And that 3,000 level had been something of big support. If we go back here to September 2017, we can see on the way up, Bitcoin did dip to about 2,950, 3,000 before moving higher. So we have seen something of a base form ahead of 3,000. So the question now is, there have been plenty of surges on the way down. Is this one any different? Does this suggest that perhaps we are going to see more of a sustainable recovery in Bitcoin? Let's zoom things in. So here's the Bitcoin, the daily candle. What is interesting about this move? We've had plenty of smaller rallies over the last few months, but they've really struggled with sort of 4,200 to 4,400 areas. So in trading terms, we view this as resistance, a level the market cannot get past. But all of this changed on that sharp surge. So this does add to the argument that maybe we're finally seeing Bitcoin starting to turn the corner. We've broken through this level that has really held any rallies since late November. So we've broken through an area where we had seen big selling in the past. So that does suggest something of a shift in sentiment. We do have something of a recovery trend going on from these December lows. We've got higher lows and higher highs now. Not surprising given the size of the move. The RSI is pretty extreme. This purple line down here is very overbought, but again, like I say, after a big move like this, in any market, you would see an extreme RSI. What's going to be interesting now is what happens if it sells off. Because, you know, in normal recoveries, we have higher highs, higher lows, the market corrects a bit and then pushes higher. So I think this will be the test for Bitcoin. If it starts to sell off, do we see people looking to buy into the weakness? You know, so I think this whole area from sort of 4,200, the old highs, through to maybe 4,500 is one to watch. If this recovery is going to be a valid one, we wouldn't expect this sell-off to go below 4,000. You know, we want to see what happens if we sell back off into this zone. When it comes to targets on the upside, if we're looking at recovery targets, I think we've got to look at previous major hurdles. So we had a bit of resistance mid-November around about 5.7, and after that there's a lot of fresh air all the way up to almost $7,000 for Bitcoin. So it's suddenly become, I think, for traders, a much more interesting market to watch. Again, let's just take a quick look at the very short term, then we'll have a look at Ethereum. So since that surge, the price has pushed a little higher, and we've got various support levels left. I think the really obvious one to watch for short-term traders is where it paused after the surge earlier this week. So around about 4,650, 4,600, 4,650. Then we have shorter term support that's emerged around about 4,800. So at the moment, after a rise like this, it wouldn't be surprising to see it under pressure. These are the shorter term levels to watch. And on the daily chart, what's going to be interesting, if we see a couple of days of it selling off, do we see buyers coming back in and resuming this trend? So I think definitely one to keep an eye on over the next few days, next few weeks. But for now, this break is encouraging through these old highs, and it builds on the recovery that's been in place now for just over 3 months. And here's a quick look at the dailies for Ethereum. Again, we've got that recovery chugging along. It's not been as decisive a break maybe, but it has pushed through those old highs from February. So again, for Ethereum, if it comes under pressure, we want to see the buyers coming back in ahead of this 120 to 140 zone to hold this recovery trend intact. But like Bitcoin, a breakthrough those highs over the recent months is encouraging. The recovery is still going. So for now, medium term, expecting further gains. So looking at it, this burst of volatility is, I think, positive. We've broken some key levels, you know, particularly on that Bitcoin chart, this level where everyone was selling into whenever the market rallied, 4,200 over recent months. We have seen that broken. We haven't seen these gains sharply reversed. So I think what is going to be interesting is what happens, maybe not so much over the next few hours, but over the next few days and weeks. If we do see these markets come under a little bit of pressure, where do the buyers come back in? You know, we have these recoveries that have been going on since December. So you would expect the buyers to come back in ahead of 4,000, for example, on Bitcoin, if we saw any sustained weakness, and the market to hook its way back up and push up. But for now, those recoveries are intact. And I think we're in for a much more interesting time for the rest of 2019 for cryptocurrencies than we've seen for quite a few months. These markets do seem to have woken up once again. We'll start wrapping things up there, but as usual, if you like the video, click on the thumbs up down there. If you have a different view, I'm sure there are lots of different views. If you've got a different take on why these markets have risen, leave us a message in the comments down below. We do read them all. And to never miss out on the content we put on our YouTube channel, whether it's market updates like this or different trading strategies, just make sure you're subscribed by clicking the subscribe button down there and the alarm bell notification. If you push that, you get notified every time we upload new content in what is becoming, once again, something of a fast-moving market. But we'll wrap things up there. So from me, David Jones and Currency.com, good luck with your trading.